Gold Chord by Amy Carmichael, Chapter 22. Prelude to Chapter 22. Strength of my heart, I need not fail, not mine to fear, but to obey. With such a leader, who could quail? Thou art as thou wert yesterday. Strength of my heart, I rest in thee. Fulfill thy purposes through me. Hope of my heart, though suns burn low, and fades the green from all the earth, thy quenchless hope would fervent glow, from barren waste would spring to birth. Hope of my heart, oh, cause to be renewals of thy hope in me. Love of my heart, my streams run dry. O fountain of the heavenly hills, love, blessed love, to thee I cry. Fled all my secret hidden rills. Waters of love, oh, pour through me. I must have love, I must have thee. Lord, give me love, then I have all. For love casts out tormenting fear, and love sounds forth a trumpet call to valiant hope, and sweet and clear the birds of joy sing in my tree. Love of my heart, when I have thee. Chapter 22, A New Thread in Our Gold Cord. There was a day near the close of 1916, while the depression of the war was heavy upon us all, when the future of the work rose up and frightened me. My heart sank. I knew that I must ask for something to brace the slack fibers. And when a call for a new decision of faith came and I could not rise to it, the deadly truth had me in its grip. I was afraid. Of what use is a frightened soldier in a battle? But God hath not given the spirit of fear, but of power and of love and of discipline. Discipline. The word was like the sting of cold rain in the face. This flabbiness was not faith. How recover? How to be renewed in the spirit of the mind? Lord, do something, do anything. Bid me come to thee from any boat on any water. Only teach me how to walk on the sea. There was no answer that I heard for a while. Then, suddenly, and with complete unexpectedness, came a word in the ear. It is not necessary to write that word. To each a part is his discipline. And lest he yield to some enchantment and liquefy and waste away till the spirit is melted out of him, and the sinews of his soul are extirpated, and he is made a feeble wielder of the lance. The wise captain of souls himself chooses his soldier's discipline to the end that he may be not brittle and useless, but tempered like steel. This page is being written in the early morning, before the life of the day begins, and just now the chimes of dawn come floating over the quiet spaces as one of the children beats out note by note on the bells. God is my strong salvation. What foe have I to fear? In darkness and temptation, my light, my help is near. It is so now. It was so then. When Peter was come down out of the ship, he walked on the water to go to Jesus. But when he saw the wind boisterous, he was afraid, and beginning to sink, he cried, saying, Lord, save me. And immediately Jesus stretched forth his hand and caught him, and said to him, O thou of little faith, wherefore didst thou doubt? Not, wherefore didst thou come? He never asked that question, but wherefore didst thou doubt? How good, how happy, how safe it was when that hand was stretched out. One hardly realized what had happened till a soft and gentle gladness came, like a bird coming home to its nest. But before this, and the little interval between the coming of that beginning to sink feeling and the stretching forth of that loving hand, a new thread was added to our gold cord. I cannot doubt that this which I have told bears directly on that. Something had to be done, which would be difficult because it was new here, and we of the South are conservative. Also, it would be greatly attacked by the enemy of souls. And just at the hour appointed, the mail brought a little paper-backed book, When God Came. Love burned along its pages. It was a book aflame. It was written by Bishop Bardsley, then Secretary of the CMS. We had at that time 7 Indian girls who were seeking to live a life of unreserved devotion, a life without fences. From poor content with less than all, my soul is called to go. Each in her own way said it. Something was required to unite and fortify them. Jonathan, Saul's son, arose and went to David in the wood and strengthened his hands in God. We needed to meet one another in Jonathan's wood. We did meet there. We shaped ourselves into a group and called ourselves Sisters of the Common Life. And immediately trouble chased the heels of trouble, and we learned that our enemy is more aware than we of the spiritual possibilities that depend upon obedience. We should never be surprised that he seeks by assault and, if that fails, by undermining our defenses to compel us to give way. The name, Sisters of the Common Life, came from the Brotherhood of Common Life, founded by Gerard Grote of Holland. The brothers worked with their hands and gave themselves to the training of such as sought, apart from the evil about them, a pure and godly life. Communion with God and laborious work filled their days. They lived the common life, but they lived it with God for men. Our thought in taking the name was that the line so often drawn between spiritual and secular has no place with us if we follow him who not only withdrew to the mountain, but also went about doing good. As the earlier part of this story tells, we wanted to rub out that line. He took a towel. We were still learning how to take our towel. And when we found the translation, put on the apron of humility to serve one another, 1 Peter 5:5, we wondered if the apostle, as he wrote, thought of that day when the Lord of Lords took a towel and fastened it on like an apron. The teaching of the usual pulpit and poem is, we believe, all wrong about Martha and Mary. The Lord rebuked not service, but fuss. And so when we built our house of prayer, we set on its highest roof not one needle, as the Tamil calls the little pointed shaft that ends a gabled roof, but 2. The Spirit can sit at the Master's feet while the hands are filled with work for others. Come unto me and rest. Take my yoke upon you. We have it again in the inexhaustible words, abide in me and I in you, as the branch cannot bear fruit of itself except it abide in the vine, no more can ye, except ye abide in me. I am the vine, ye are the branches. He that abideth in me, and I in him, the same bringeth forth much fruit. For without me ye can do nothing. Our meetings were mainly in English, except our Bible and the Pilgrim's Progress. There were no books in Tamil that offered just what those girls began to want. Roll and Suso and Tersteegeen, on whom the still dews fell in the century of turmoil that we think of as Tamerlanes, and Bishop Mooley and Josephine Butler of our time, and Thomas à Kempis, pupil of Grote and brother of Common Life, Samuel Rutherford and Pierre Didon, brothers in spirit, though divided by the letter of the law, and the brave and burning souls of every age, these had left torches. This group of girls had grown steadily year by year as one and another, drawn by the irresistible cords of love, have come asking to join it. It is still assailed, but chiefly from within. It is as though the adversary could never get accustomed to this little company of Indian women, and of later years others, whose one purpose is to be spiritually ready to go all lengths with their Lord. They have meant much to the fellowship, whose ministry includes the care of and dealing with many different characters. Some of the children are from the best stock of India, but some have everything against them, and the underpull of heredity can tell hardly on a child. There are various races in our family, and there are many castes. Nothing but the love of God can control and fuse into happy unity such diversity as this, and not all have yielded to the love of God. The unyielding can greatly exercise the patience of those who have to do with them. They send us again and again to the God of hope for renewals in hope. But perhaps only one who has had to guide a work which is continuous, that is, without free spaces such as school and college offer, and which is always demanding more and more spiritual energy, can fully appreciate what it is to have such fellow workers as these in the center of things. Is there something to be done from which the flesh shrinks? Ask her. She is a sister of the common life. She will do it. And about matters where one of two ways is open, there is an instinctive soldierly choice, and there is the kindling example to the younger ones. Promotion does not mean more honor in the usual sense of the word. It means more work, harder work, the trust of the hardest. We soon gathered much lovely stardust, such as Raymond Lull's well-known saying about the Moorish battlefield. It appears to me that victory can be won in no other way than thou, O Lord Christ, with thy apostles, did seek to win it by love and prayer, by shedding of tears and blood, by self-sacrifice, by spiritual, not by carnal weapons. And Rutherford's from his prison in Aberdeen. Why should I start at the plough of my Lord, that maketh deep furrows in my soul? He purposeth a crop. And Thomas à Kempis' calm word from his cell. Blessed are the single-hearted, for they shall enjoy much peace. This sacred work demands not lukewarm, selfish, slack souls, but hearts more finely tempered than steel, wills purer and harder than the diamond. Pierre Didon gave us that. And Bishop Bardsley this. When a soul sets out to find God, it does not know whither it will come and by what path it will be led. But those who catch the vision are ready to follow the Lamb whithersoever he goeth, regardless of what that following may involve for them. And it is as they follow, obedient to what they have seen, in this spirit of joyful adventure, that their path becomes clear before them, and they are given the power to fulfill their high calling. They are those who have the courage to break through conventionalities, who care not at all what the world thinks of them, because they are entirely taken up with the tremendous realities of the soul and God. The cross is the attraction. This was one of our words from the first. For the symbol of the Christian church is not a burning bush, nor a dove, nor an open book, nor a halo around a submissive head, nor a crown of splendid honor. It is a cross. These and other true things we read together, and then very simply we wrote, My vow, whatsoever thou sayest unto me, by thy grace I will do it. My constraint, thy love, O Christ my Lord. My confidence, thou art able to keep that which I have committed unto thee. My joy, to do thy will, O God. My discipline, that which I would not choose, but which thy love appoints. My prayer, conform my will to thine. My motto, love to live, live to love. My portion, the Lord is the portion of mine inheritance. Teach us, good Lord, to serve thee more faithfully, to give and not to count the cost, to fight and not to heed the wounds, to toil and not to seek for rest, to labor and not to ask for any reward, save that of knowing that we do thy will, O Lord our God. Between 20 and 30 girls have signed this confession of love since that first evening, March 18th, 1916. Of these, several have married, for it is always understood that obedience to the Lord's whatsoever may lead to that. Some are out in the villages, some are here. The greater number of those who have not married are with us, serving in various parts of the work. I would like to name each name, for such names are dear, but the first 7 may stand for all. Urule, she who, hearing for the first time the mighty message of a Savior, could change dispositions, immediately believed, and went all the way from that first hour in her allegiance to the Lord. Papamal, of whom we have told before, who broke her alabaster box of very precious ointment for love of her Redeemer. Purapuranam, which means perfection, who is bequeathed to us by her mother. Panamal as her last gift. Rukma, radiance, another young convert and like her name. Prina, whose name means beloved, also known as Pearl Eyes. Letha, the bright little firefly for whom we were to ring the joy bells. And Manaharam, which means heart's joy, Papamal's cousin, whose brave soul lodges in a fragile vase. These and the others, who, blessed by their example, have given themselves to the service, are our comrades and companions in this fellowship. End of chapter 22. Thank you for listening. God bless you, and we will see you at chapter 23.